What up, friendos? How's it going, everybody? Hopefully, you're having a good day. And I figured what would make the day better for most people. It's an update on Chronicles of Elyria, the chronic lies and delusions of Jeremy Caspian Walsh. And basically, the lack of updates and the lack of literally anything going on with one of the most well-funded and simultaneously disappointing MMORPGs to ever, shit itself to death on the grand stage of Kickstarter. And obviously I've not made a video about Elyria in a long time because what is there to really talk about? You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But to be fair, a lot of people love the way the bottom of the barrel tastes because they keep asking me. It's probably the number one thing other than Earth 2 that I get asked is what's going on with Chronicles of Elyria. And honestly, not a great deal. There are some funny developments though, because obviously the only way that Caspian really interacts with his community, because there are still people who legitimately believe like they wake up every morning in their fucking Transformer gym jams, scuttle downstairs like the good little boys that they are, like the happy little elves, and get on the Discord and then roleplay as if they own like some fucking land in a game that will never exist and never meaningfully would have done, because it was all a pipe dream based on somebody who was grossly underqualified to try and do what he said he was going to do. And these people still exist. They're still, wearing those Transformers gym jams, and they're still on the Discord interacting with him. And he basically keeps like a little conclave of people who he does speak to, he does frequently update, but obviously the updates we get publicly would usually come from the website, which has now been down for fucking months. The website, you can see here, like you can go to the website now, it's actually there, but as soon as you try to click on anything, the website will be in maintenance. It's estimated to return on or around Thursday, January 23rd. As you'll notice, it's currently the 29th of January. The website is not up, and you might think, oh, well, maybe he's just forgot to update it and there's been a little bit of a delay, because that's fair enough, right? Sometimes when you're updating your website, 1 or 2 days, maybe a week can be a reasonable delay. I mean, I don't know why you're updating your website when the website worked fine to relay information about your game that doesn't exist. But obviously, maybe you just thought, if we have a better website, then maybe that will distract people from the fact that there is no game. But obviously, he decided, I'm going to, as a solo developer with an MMO that I keep claiming is 90% done, but nobody's ever seen it or played it, and I'll never show anyone, despite the fact that I could have raised more money and saved all these people who I apparently cared about their jobs and continue to keep them employed at the start of the pandemic, which is how long ago this was when he closed down the studio. Maybe I could, put in some effort to try and save everyone's job and allow them to feed their families. But instead, I'll show nobody anything ever, and then continually claim that we're almost there, but I just need to make this game first, and then this game, and then maybe I need to swap to Unity to make this game, and then maybe I need to update my website. So maybe in his brain, there's like a couple days leeway, and we can give him that, right? We can extend him the good faith of saying, he's only a week over schedule. Apart from the fact you realize the website's been down for fucking months. He took the website down. I don't know what the exact date was, but as you can see, Caspian takes down COE dev journals and fails to reach his own website update deadline for Thursday, the 19th of December, which would be a month and a half ago, right? And that was his deadline for the website to be updated, which means it was taken down before then. I believe this was probably the update where he said he was going to be taken down, and this update was posted December 11th. So, we're on good. If he leaves it another week, it'll be 2 months that the website has been unusable. And obviously, that means all of the devlogs and everything are just gone. All the devlogs where he continually claimed, oh, this will be done by next week and this will be done by next month. And then when this game's done and it's in your hands in 2 months' time, we'll be really close to having, this thing done and this thing done. And then I'm really hoping to have it in everyone's hands, playing the early access by 2023. Oh no, wait, 2024. Oh no, wait, 2025. And then we're here, and we have less than we had before. At least before, he had a website with some blogs on it that were full of utter shite, just complete verbal fucking diarrhea. But now we don't even have that. There's not even a website, and it just goes to show, right? The fact that there's still people who legitimately believe, like I'm very much of the opinion that he could very easily prove everybody wrong. And just to show you something real quick, he clearly pays attention to media and he's deeply upset or hurt by it and probably feels like he could vindicate himself in some way. But never has done. So if you read this post, this was from back in 2022, so it's a while ago. This post from 2022 is talking about, this clickbaity MMORPG.com article talking about us. And what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to let these things slide. I'm going to fight back, to quote him here. He says, there's an often misattributed quote that says, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes, which is true. Yeah, it is true. That's certainly been my experience over the last 2 years. But here's the thing. The truth has its boots on now and it's ready to start kicking. He just puts his sunglasses on. He turns his back. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Fucking boom, boom, fireworks. Like, he felt like he enter on this, lit his cigar and started taking a sip from his fucking crystal glass with 40-year-old scotch in there. He was like, I am the coolest man on the planet. Because, I mean, this is a banging line, isn't it? Apart from when you realise the person posting it then didn't kick fuck all, apart from himself. In fact, he didn't get his shoes on at any point. While trying to tie his shoes, he fell over and knocked himself unconscious. And he's not woken up since. He's sleeping. He's asleep. Because this was in 2022. So he obviously knows people are talking about this stuff. He obviously knows these things are happening. And there would have been a very easy way for him to put all this to bed and to show everyone, show me, show his detractors, show MMORPG.com. Oh, you're all actually wrong. We do have loads of stuff and it is almost ready, which would then make him utterly incompetent if he didn't show people that at the time when he still could have raised more money and finished the game in a reasonable period of time. But he could just... I've said this, I've challenged him, he watches the videos, he listens, people send this to him. I know for a fact he knows I exist. Notice me, senpai. I've put this challenge out to him multiple times. Turn on a live stream, takes 30 seconds to run OBS Wizard to fucking, it's not magic, it's a software wizard that sets your settings for you. 30 seconds to do it, load up OBS, turn on the game, the MMO, put the IP out and the client and let people connect to it, an hour or two before so people can download it, and show that you have a game, show that you have even remotely anything that you've claimed for the last 3 years while you've been spinning your wheels. And what can anyone say at that point? Like, yeah, you have this stuff, and you're not lying, and it is there, and it is substantiated. You know what he's never done? Not only has he not done that, he's not even just on his own loaded up the thing in like an edited video and shown people him playing the game. The only time people have seen footage of a Elyria game is the like top-down shit that somebody would release on Steam for $4, like the Kingdoms of Elyria thing. That it's one of those things, right? Some people were impressed by that because I don't know. I'm not going to try and like therapize them and say what's wrong with them for them to think that this was like an impressive thing to have. But he's obviously saying that like the top-down shitty Settlers game or whatever it was interacts in all the back end ways to like pull information from the game with like loaded databases and things that they built up for Chronicles of Elyria, and then this will somehow, you know, interact with all these other things and play into these other systems and blah blah blah. But I'd obviously say, what is the relevance of that if you don't have the other game? And then he would say, oh, it's 90% done. And it's like, I don't know, man. I think when you look at other projects that have been developed through like crowdfunded money and whatever, most of them had something playable. We've got some news here from like Camelot Unchained, right, which is another project I've covered extensively on the channel. And Camelot Unchained have just fired 24 of their 55 staff. And you can talk a lot of shit about Camelot Unchained, and I have and will continue to do so, because it's a completely mismanaged project that seems to basically exist as a way to develop an engine, because that's very valuable to the people who have the engine, as opposed to developing the game, which was obviously what people paid crowdfunding money for, and then was promised a refund, and then most people never got a refund. But as much shit as you can talk about Camelot Unchained, like from a very early stage of that game, they at least had something that was playable. Like everybody who paid money could play it, and it will just always grind my gears a little bit. And it's why I will not stop making videos about Chronicles of Elyria when updates and stuff come out. It's because the level of, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know how to describe it. The level of like, it just really irritates me when somebody literally took the community for millions of dollars combined. Maybe he didn't massively profit from that. Maybe he didn't spend all the money on himself and blah, blah, blah. You know, I know I've spoken to employees. There was a studio. There were people being paid. There was stuff being bought. Like, they were working on a game. He didn't just take all the money and run away and whatever else, like some people claim. But he did obviously pay himself a salary. And he used that money and he lived how comfortably he was living and whatever for X amount of years off other people's money. And yet somehow doesn't feel obligated to just be open and to say, we have this thing, here you go, your money paid for this, by the way. I know obviously in Kickstarter there's no like legal ownership for people who paid in. You own nothing. That's why Kickstarter's like such a just a shitty model for things that are really grand in scope, because you take on all the risk, the person taking the money gets all the benefit, and there is no recourse at all. It's essentially a donation. Unless they are provably fraudulent, nothing's going to happen to them ever, because it isn't illegal to just say you're going to do something and then try your hardest and be bad and fail. Like, that's not a crime, and nor should it be. You are taking on the risk. You should understand that. But at the same time, I think for me, if people gave me loads of money to do something and then I couldn't do it by the end, I would at least want to show them like what was accomplished with their money. Like, they gave you this massive opportunity this whole time and you've shown them nothing. And it's like, I don't know how you'd sleep at night with that being the case, knowing that you did that and you're still years later saying, oh yeah, I'm updating my website. 2 months later, no website update. Oh yeah, I'm definitely, this game will be done within the next year or two, and then that'll be, you know, we'll use that to raise money to finish the MMO. Where's that? It's not happened, has it? Like, it's just fucking, it's so funny. What's this? Caspian fan claims 6 employees continue to work on KOE through 2021. Exola holding all money from Settlers of Elyria and D and SS events, and Caspian is hopeful for KOE Alpha 2 sometime this year. When the lawsuit happened, it drained the rest of his money and he had to let the remaining team go. He already let the team go. He lost an entire year of work plus the 6 people helping him. By the time he won the court case, it was 2023 and he was alone with nothing else left. If you're upset at the delay of this, you can 100% blame the collection of grifters and idiots who ran the doomed court case. Wow. KOE/COE has progressed pretty well through, though, since, and hopeful for Alpha 2 sometime this year. Website backend update rollout in progress delayed due to having to move office. What office, bro? He's one fucking person. Why do you need an office? How do you have money for an office? You're bro, just get a laptop. The fuck? Elyria Mud web interface for EA backers. Website doesn't even work. Kiwi Alpha client testing resumes is the plan for 2025. So how it pans out, though, as always, Caspian is giving no new definite dates or promises so far. The rest of the staff were let go, like 24 of them or something in 2020. Yeah, at the beginning of COVID, which again, you know, I really care about all these people. I'm going to take these PPP loans, fire everybody, and then not substantiate the game existing and raise more money to keep them employed. I'm just going to say I'm shuttering the studio. Lol, JK. Definitely not shuttering the studio. A group of 6 stuck with him for over a year after, Snipe being the last to go near the end of 2021. They did have a couple people. I don't remember it ever being 6. They did have a couple people helping on like a part-time / for free basis. He did talk about that a few times. They did a heap of work on the Kiwi client with Caspian. The only reason they had to go was that the lawsuit took all of Caspian's time and all of his remaining funds. The lawsuit was a huge grift by a few who made money from the content creation and writing articles side of it. Is there even any content creation, any content creators from the lawsuit stuff? I'd have thought I'd have heard about them if they were big enough to have made any money that would offset paying for a lawsuit. Lawsuits, if you don't know, are very expensive, by the way. So these content creators would have to be quite big to be making money off of articles and videos. Who are they? Like, who the fuck was part of this that was making money? This sounds like a LARP. This sounds like he's smoking some of that fucking high-grade copium. Never had any real chance and was dismissed with prejudice after Caspian proved Siri wasn't a scam and the money was spent legitimately, and that there is a lot of work actually done on the game. Nobody's ever seen it, though, and he will show nobody. So, there you go. I'd have to look back into what happened with the lawsuit because I stopped following it. I even said before the lawsuit even happened that it was doomed to fail because, again, I'd already spoken to employees of the company and I knew that they spent the money on the game. So how are you going to sue somebody? Like I said this at the time, I wish them the best of luck, but it's not, you're not going to win a lawsuit saying that somebody stole your money when they didn't. They just said, I will do X, tried to do X and failed. Like that, you're not going to win. It was a doomed endeavor from the beginning, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong on some of the details. I'm sure some of the lawsuit, the class action people will message me after this and let me know. But from what I know of what was going on, I never thought this had any kind of legs whatsoever. The rest were assorted idiots or Gamergate morons who most of the community had kicked out as it was. I don't know who the fuck this guy's talking about. What is this guy? What? Only a few of them were legit genuine about it. Most of those have since come back and are participating in the community and supporting Caspian again. If you do this, you're lost. Most of those still saying negative things about COE were never a backer or part of the community or just have common sense. A good example of the grifters are the YouTube content creators who travel from game community to game community, generating income by trashing games and calling them scams. Guess that's me. Guess that's me. Narc, who was just posted in the COE Reddit, is a classic example, though not the worst. There's an entire industry of sorts built around clickbait negative videos. This guy sounds like Caspian. He does love calling things clickbait. This is either Caspian or this is a Reddit user that begins with a letter. And I'm not going to call out his username because I don't want anyone to go and harass him, but he's one of the most severely mentally unwell people I've ever seen. And every time I'm mentioned anywhere on the internet, this guy's there. And you look and he posts like hundreds of Reddit posts per day. It's like arguing with people on Reddit. It's like he's, full-time job if he actually had gainful employment. But this sounds like either that guy or one of Caspian's alts. Because he loves saying shit like this. Narc, who was just posted blah blah blah. There's an entire industry of clickbait videos. They cobble together what is just cherry-picked and deliberately misinterpreted nonsense. Yes, the lack of transparency is an issue, but as myself, Caspian and many others have pointed out, there are layers of NDAs on the whole thing now, making it hard to say or show a lot publicly. NDAs with who? you're Caspian, you own everything. Why would you have an NDA? And if that's the case, how would you ever release the game? Like, there's no investors. Where would the NDA be? I mean, there's another post here from the same person. They're calling him Caspian Sycophant. Oh, for fuck's sake. These aren't additional projects. Elyria Mud was what they started with and is mostly already made. Nobody's playing it, though. Still, years later, nobody's playing it. Interesting. Mostly made. Can't see it, can't play it. Because COE is mostly server-side with content streamed to the clients, except some of the models, it makes it easy to work on small clients. Can't play those either. Caspian and his team developed the Elyria Mud client to use as a testing tool, and alone with the pre-Elyria client and the early pre-alpha COE client, there isn't a huge amount of work to do. Still can't play it years later. There we go. Elyria Mud is something he can slap up on the website for people to play around with the adventure mechanics with while he goes back to KOE. Still isn't playable. KOE is the same thing. There is the KOE client that connects to the same COE server that Elyria Mud and COE client connects to. Still can't play it. Meaning players in Elyria Mud and KOE will be able to interact and see each other's effects on the world. Nobody's played it. He's just repeating what Caspian said. No evidence. Nobody's ever seen this. Nobody's ever played this. It's not in the public domain. He's just saying, oh, Caspian told me the fucking sky's purple. Look up, the sky's blue. No, Caspian said it's purple, mate. You're all misinformed. It also means all work on KOE is also all work on COE. Prove it. He completed most of the different milestones. Prove it. He took all the milestones down now. The website doesn't even work. The game's not even remotely out. He was posting those milestones in 2022. It's 2025. We've gone backwards. There's no website. Just that most players never got to see them. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because they don't exist. KOE is about 30%-ish of the way through now, 2025. Bear in mind, he started working on that in 2022. Or at least that's as far back. No, sorry, he was working on that before. So it's been, 4+ years at this stage. Think of these as just different names for different stages of COE development. They just focus on different COE mechanics, none of them playable. Is it still all COE? And it is still all COE and still all using the COE assets database. Most of the stuff in Kingdoms of Elyria were fucking pre-made assets. So, hilarious, of course, to say that there's still COE asset from the database. Interesting. The backend is done now. Prove it. The website rebuild was the last of the backend work he will need to do for a long while. Still not done months later. The last test he did on live stream ran really smoothly. Website doesn't exist. I don't want to say too much, but Elyria Mud will be a web-based app on the website, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. And it's text-based, but with a UI around it that gives you info on stats and inventory, etc. So kind of a hybrid mod. So not the same thing from 2017, very much a simplified version. Is an extension of a testing tool they already made, really, which is why it will take bugger all work to complete. I imagine this guy's English then, if you're saying bugger all. He needed the back end redone completely to make Elyria Mud work and needs the website remade, which is what he has been working on. It's been months. KOE only had a little over a year of working on it directly so far. The lawsuit killed it off, and they need to remake the engine and website game before certain features could be implemented. He hasn't been jumping between both at all. It is very interesting how the communication went with Chronicles of Elyria, though, because it was everything's public, everything's public, everything's public, everything's public. Now it's not public. Now it's less and less and less. And then now it's the website's down. The Discord's not posted in for months at a time. And instead, everything is happening in a closed backer section of the Discord where only people who basically paid in a whole bunch of money are allowed in there. The true believers, the fucking source drinkers, the sword swallowers, the Transformers Jim Jam wearers. Like, they're all the people that he's talking with, and everyone else doesn't get to see, hear, or participate in anything, which is fine, whatever. It's his community. He can do with it what he wants, the way he wants to. It's just very interesting to go from, got me fucking kicking boots on now, I'm going to kick all these clickbaiters to death, to, yeah, come in. If you spent $2,000, come on in, lads. We'll have a little circle jerk in here, only us, and then nobody can laugh at us. One thing that is very interesting about the whole COE thing is that there's something at play here that is much more sketchy than the story of Caspian, Chronicles of Elyria, whatever. Because again, this is very simple. He took in money, said he'd make a game, failed to make the game, end of story. And then for years afterwards, he's continued spinning his wheels. But that's just kind of like, it's just noise. The interesting part is when COE was sort of like at the tail end and they had no money, and Jeremy decided he was still going to run a crowdfunding event without telling anyone they were out of money, and tried to just like, I don't know, fucking Hail Mary with no additional information, enough funding to continue running the studio for months and years at a time, despite the fact that the people had stopped giving their money in any substantial amount. That money that was taken in was never refunded, and Jeremy claims he was never given it, which means Xsola took money from people, refused to refund, and then according to evidence I've been sent from people who participated in that event, Xsola said that they gave the money to Jeremy. So what you've got here is Jeremy takes the money, which is facilitated by Xsola. Xsola says, we can't refund you because we paid it to Chronicles of Elyria. Chronicles of Elyria says, we can't refund it because Xsola never gave it to us. So there's a very big question mark there of like, what the fuck happened to that money? I don't think it was a substantial amount because, again, by that point, everyone had kind of given up on COE because there was no progress, and they were posting like photoshopped pictures of fucking trees with like a real life tree from a forest somewhere with like a tree house photoshopped on it, and that was like their updates, which multiple years into a project is probably not really what you want to be seeing if you're trying to raise more money from people. But that's the more interesting angle here of like, what the fuck happened to that money? Because I wouldn't put it past Xsola to keep it and then claim that they didn't, because again, I have a very negative view of Xsola in terms of things that they've done with other games that I've covered. See the Life is Feudal situation for evidence of that one. But yeah, I guess that's all I've got. I can only fucking milk this stone for a little while, and I guess once the website's open again, if ever, we'll come back to it and see what's been going on. But yeah, thanks for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed. I like to keep making these videos for a couple of reasons. One, I know that a lot of people have followed this for a long time, and it's like a thing people just want some kind of conclusion or continuity with. And two, the people that spent money on this never got a game. All they got is the friends and entertainment we made along the way. And large part of that has been from my channel and from me. So why not continue? Give the people what they want. But there we go. Thanks for watching. Check out Gamer Sups, link in video description. Go buy some waifu cups. Go buy some gamer juice. Use the code. You'll get a kickback. No, you'll get a discount. I'll get a kick. I get the money, guys. You don't. You buy the product. I get the money. You don't buy the product and get the money. That would be unreasonable. You're not Caspian. I'll see you next time. Peace.